Live yet. Come on. Do we have anybody watching? I have no idea. I have no idea. All right, we're live. Okay. Let's see. We got anybody watching right now? I have no idea if we got anybody watching right now. I think we might have one or two. Nope, it's just me. I'm watching myself. 3 watching. Okay. Let me get over to OSB right quick so that I can see the chats. Sorry, guys, it took me so long to get back to doing the live stream here. I've had a lot of stuff going on, and trying to get everything done. It's kind of hard to do videos at the same time. So, but anyway, as I promised, here I am, about a week and a half late, but I'm here. Anyway, let me see. Let me get back over here so that I can see. We got 4 people, including myself. I'm actually watching myself on here, which is kind of weird because there's a delay. I'll wait for a few other people to show up on here. I am interested in questions from you guys. Because I would like to answer questions for y'all. Give me just a second here. The whole live streaming thing is still relatively new to me. So, doing this kind of stuff is not, it hasn't become second nature yet. So anyway, I don't know how many people we have on here right now. OSB Studio, which is what I use for live streaming, doesn't tell me, and if it does, I don't know where it is, but OSB Studio doesn't tell me how many people I actually have watching right at the moment. So I actually have to go back over to YouTube to see how many people are watching. So we got 7 people right now. All right, so the last live stream that I did, I said that we were going to talk about leveling pool tables. And anyway, I thought I would relay a story, and this is what made me think about it, was that we went to do a pool table for a customer. I guess this was about a month ago. No, it was actually about 2 months ago. And the gentleman had the pool table in another room, had it disassembled by somebody else, and we were supposed to go back out and reassemble the table. But by the way, somebody give me a comment. Let me know if my audio is coming in, because I have no idea. I actually have YouTube muted. I can see that my video is showing up. I think I got from the last time I did this, the refresh on the camera shutter. I think I got that taken care of. I think it's going to be constant all the way through on this now. But somebody let me know in the comments below if my audio is coming in. Looking for audio is good. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, let me get back over to OSB Studio, and I can see the comments. All right, Tim says he's got a couple of questions. Well, we'll get to your questions in just a minute. But anyway, I wanted to tell this story. So we went to move this pool table, and the table had come out of another room. Somebody else had moved it. We were reassembling it and recovering it. And the room that it was going into was an addition onto the house. It had been like a back patio that they had closed in, made it into an addition. And anyway, we go to put the table together. And if you've seen any of my other how-to videos on how to reassemble a pool table, how to install a pool table, you'll see that we actually have to raise the legs of the I use flooring samples, and I use very, very thin pieces of wood, wooden shims underneath the legs, and we have to raise the lowest portion of the table. That has to get raised up. So his room apparently, and I'm guessing everywhere else in the country is like it is here in Louisiana. If you've got an exterior room or like a patio or a garage or something like that, generally speaking, the slope of your floor is going to run away from the house. That way, if there's any rain or anything like that, it's not going to pull towards the house. It's going to, shed away from the house and, get it away from the interior of the house so you don't mess anything else up. Well, this was exactly the same thing. It was an exterior room. The slope of the slab was away from the house. Well, we went to level out the frame of the table, and I kid you not, there was about an inch and a quarter that one end of the table had to go up, and it left, big gap between the floor and the very bottom edge of the leg. And the guy says, I don't understand what's going on here. I don't understand why you have to do this. Can't you level it out from underneath the slate, in between the slate and the frame? And I'm like, no, we can't. Not this much, we can't. This is the way that we have to do it. Unless you want special pre-made, or unless you want to have something special made to go in between the floor and the leg. I said, this is the way that it's done. It's done like this everywhere. Usually it's not to this degree, and you don't really see it. We try to cut those squares of wood or whatever we're using to raise up the table. We try to keep them underneath the leg, and make it to where it's not seen. Keep it inside the perimeter. If the leg is round, we would keep it on the inside of that. If the leg is square, larger square, we can handle that too, and it would stay hidden underneath there. But when you've got an inch and a quarter that you're raising up the end of the table, well, there's no way that you're not going to see it. So he starts telling me that, look, I don't understand what's going on, but I had my floor leveled before you guys even came out. When they were doing the renovations on the room, I had 30 bags of flooring leveler that they use, and I tried to explain to him. I said, look, that the bags of stuff that you mix up, and it looks like concrete, and you're using it to level out the floor. I said, that's to level out little dips. It's not to level out large, a 20-foot run where you're an inch low over 20 feet, or actually 8 feet. So you'd be 5 inches low on 20 feet. So anyway, or actually 3 inches low on 20 feet. That's a lot. It's not so much that you would feel it when you're walking across the floor, but it's enough that if you tried to play pool just from that, it wouldn't work. You would have to lift up one end of the table. He had asked me if we could possibly raise the slate up from the frame. Well, technically we could, but we would have to go with really long slate screws. And then if you got down on the side of the table, you could see clean through it. It's just a nightmare. So anyway, big amounts like that are going to be leveled from the legs, not from the slate. All right, so let's get into some questions here, and I would welcome any questions. I'd like the theme of today's video to be, or the stream, more along the lines of leveling tables, but I'll take other questions as well. I don't mind. Let's see. G-Man asks, on my Golden West 8-foot, they don't use full slate bed, perimeter only. Wait. All right, so it's a three-piece. It was designed that way to give access to the seam for shimming on the underside. A good way to... Oh, that... All right. G-Man, I'm not following this question, okay? They don't use a full slate bed. When you say slate bed, are you talking about slate liner? The wood that goes underneath the slate? Because, you know, that's what you're talking about. And just about every manufacturer just uses a perimeter of slate liner. So, you know, each of the three pieces, you would have just the perimeter of the slate itself. Clarify that. Let me know in the comments if that's exactly what you're talking about. In the interim, I'm going to get over to Tim's question. Tim says, a good way to fix strip screw holes on an old Brunswick. Do they sell wooden pocket slides in the pockets that attach to the slate? Let's see. Good way to fix strip screw holes. Yeah, really easy way is with go to a local hobby store. Pick up a tube of, it's going to be like basically super glue. You can get it from Home Depot as well. But the reason why I suggest a hobby store is that they also have another product called Accelerator, or there's another name for it, Activate, Kickstart, Kicker. But anyway, there's a product. It's a CA glue, just like any other type of super glue. And usually, what I will use is wooden toothpicks. If the slate screws are stripped out, what I'll do is I'll stick wooden toothpicks in, put it in as far as it'll go, or fill it with, add some super glue into there, and start jamming toothpicks, and then break them off at the top. Okay, so let me see here. Let's see. All right, so let's say this is the top of your wood right here. Okay, you're going to break off the toothpicks right level so that the toothpicks are going to go into the wood. Break them off level with the top of the frame. And then you use that kicker, that accelerator, activator, whatever they call it, and just hit it with a couple of spurts, and that super glue will dry instantly. I mean, instantly. It'll get pretty hot. You'll hear it. I have no idea why my audio keeps cutting in and out, but it just keeps cutting in and out. All right, so do we have audio again? Somebody tell me if we got audio again. Got a question from Mark Daniels. Are we still silent? We shouldn't be. No, I'm showing I got audio. Do it. Tell me if we got audio now. Okay, back on. All right, so Mark Daniels, watched your video on assembling a Brunswick pool table. The very last part where you level the short ends of the table, you got under the table and lifted up. I'm not as big as you. Is there another way? Yeah, you could use a. You could use a floor jack. I don't necessarily recommend that. Um, I do it that way because I am my size and I've got long arms and I'm, pretty strong. Um, but you could conceivably use a floor jack and just lift up just enough, um, or do a better job of leveling from side to side, um, to begin with. If you use my let's see. If you look in the description of each one of my videos, I have a list of tools that I use, and one of those tools is a Starrett machinist level. I use a 12-inch machinist level, and that's what I would recommend. I use, like I said, I mean, it's just easier for me to do it after the fact, but it would be just as easy to do it on the front end. Use the Starrett level and fine tune left to right. Or you could do it with the slates too, but I don't like doing it that way because I don't like chasing a level around. I would much prefer to get it on the length of the table. I would much prefer to get each and every slate perfect over the length and then come back and fine tune by lifting and putting small amounts. Oh, audio dropped. What the hell's going on with my audio? Somebody tell me that my audio's out, on or off again. Is my audio still off or on? Is my audio still on? Or is it off? Somebody let me know. All right. This is weird. Let me show you guys something. I pull this camera around over here. All right, so I can't see anything. Give me a second. So this is my setup. I've got the mixer board over here. I've got an interface here. It's going into the laptop here. And then the microphone over here. And I think I've got everything, good equipment here. The camera itself is a decent Sony camera, and I paid good money for everything, which, by the way, that leads me to a gripe that I have, and I'm going to let you guys know what my gripe is here in just a second. So I pay good money for good gear. Just the interface alone, the audio interface itself, and I think my audio issue is coming from my computer. Still have a bit to work on with that. But these, if you looked at my last video, you'll see that I was using a set of Sennheiser earphones. Well, it was my fault. The plug on the end of it broke. And anyway, the plug on the end of it broke, the 1/8-inch jack. And, that was my fault and that's on me. So I call up Sennheiser today and I'm trying to find a replacement cord for this. And these are not like this one. This one actually has a detachable. It will actually come loose here, and it'll also come loose on the other side. So if it gets hung up on anything, it just pops right out. Well, I call up Sennheiser. This model has been discontinued for 4 years, and they don't have parts for it. And I'm ticked off because these things cost about $200, $300 for these. And, you know, for things to be discontinued for 4 years and you can't get anything, can't get parts for it, can't even get a parts breakdown for it. Yeah, I was ticked off about that. And I'm waiting to hear back from Sennheiser about that they can't even, that the real kicker is that they can't even give me a parts breakdown or a wiring diagram for so that I can hardwire a new cable into the thing. So, all right, Tim is asking me to go back and answer his question again because his audio went out. The audio went out. Let me go back and reread your question. All right, so good way to fix strip screw holes. Okay, strip screw holes. Go back in. Use wooden toothpicks. Jam them in as many as you can get in. But before you do that, put some super glue in there. But get your super glue from a hobby store because they also sell a product called Kicker or CA glue Kicker. It instantly activates that CA glue. I mean, fast. It'll sizzle and pop and everything like that. But when everything is all said and done, that stuff will get hard as a rock. Then you can come back and drill a new pilot hole right smack through the toothpicks and everything. Toothpicks are your friend. Wooden toothpicks are your friend for stripped screw holes. If it's bolt holes, that's a different story. If it's bolts that are stripped out, that's a different story. Usually you'll have to re-drill that, put a helicoil in or something along those lines. But anyway, let me see. We had another couple of questions. G-Man, thanks, Doug. I have to finish up my outside job before the rain. I will come back and finish my watch. Thank you. You're welcome. Let's see. JPII, last week I recovered my parents' Valley Model 33, and I could have done it without your video. I'm guessing you meant to say couldn't have done it without my video. Thank you so much. It turned out great. That's awesome. I love hearing success stories like that. I started out doing coin-operated pool tables in the amusement business back 30 years ago, and I think I may have even told this story. The first coin-operated pool table I ever went to do was for Xavier University in New Orleans, and I had no idea. I'd never done a pool table before. Well, I went with this other guy, Carl, and Carl had never done a pool table by himself before. He had always been the helper of this other guy named Nicky. Well, the only thing Nicky ever showed Carl was the fact that and this is backed cloth at the time, is that you have to remove the backing in order to recover the rails. Well, Carl didn't realize you only remove the backing to cover the rails and you leave the backing on to cover the bed. So we get there, and I mean, we're struggling, pulling this backing off, pulled the backing off, got it all off, and covered the tables. They look great. The tables look great. And then about a week later, we get a call from Xavier that the cloth is just loose as can be. I mean, it's got ripples in it. It's so loose. So my boss asked me, he pulls us both in, and we told him, the cloth was as tight as could be when we were done. We don't understand what could have happened. And my boss started asking us a few questions, and one of the questions that he asked us was, did you pull the backing off of the cloth for the bed? And we said, well, of course, Carl told us, Carl said that that's what Nicky used to do, and not realizing that Nicky only did it for the rails. But anyway, we wasted 2 tables worth of cloth that day, and my boss was not very happy about it. So, but that was the one and only time I've seriously messed up cloth on a table. So, any other questions? Come on, I know you guys have some more questions for me. We got 8 people. Yeah, I really wish we could get more people watching and asking questions. So, all right. So, here's what I want to do. We're gonna go to A to Z Billiards, and they have a section on there for Ask a Mechanic. Um, let's see. Let me find this right quick. So for copyright purposes, I am not going to show the questions on here. Let's see. I'm just gonna pick some of these at random. Let's see. Finished instructions for installing and leveling 3 pieces of slates. All right. Well, I have a video up on there showing exactly how to do that. 2022 World Cup cloth installation. I'm not familiar with World Cup cloth, so I'm not going to answer that one. Simonis ware. Okay, this one should be a good one. This is a guy, he just actually asked this question yesterday, and this is completely off the cuff. If I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. If I do know, then before I get into what other people say, I'm going to give my opinion. So this is one of the members on here. He says, "This is just a curiosity question on my part. I have a diamond pool table for a little over 2 years now, and while the cloth doesn't look as new, it actually looks quite good, really good, as a matter of fact. I do vacuum it regularly, every 2 days or so. When I go out to play pool, some places tables just look used, and that's fine. But some places have cloth that not only looks well used, but also has a shiny, glossy, almost waxed look to the cloth. The one pool hall I first noticed this at was when I was traveling to see my son. I had stopped in one where he lives just to see what it was like. Their gold crowns cloth literally looked as though you burnished it in a heavy wax coating. Yesterday afternoon, by our summer house, the wife and I stopped at a different place than we normally frequent, and they had a diamond bar box there, and the cloth had the same worn, waxy look to it. The table played okay, but honestly, uh, All right, is our audio back on now? This is annoying. I might have to do something here right quick just to see if we can get our audio working full time. Give me 1 second here. All right, our audio should be on. Our audio is on again. Give me a second here. I know I was away from you guys for a good while I was reading. Is our audio back? Okay, we're good. Gray Dude says good. No. Yep, audio's good. All right, so what did I miss? Somebody tell me in the comment where I dropped off. I'm sorry, guys. Somebody tell me in the comments where in my explanation I dropped out. Had I gotten this far yet? Telling you guys about the machine polish? So anyway, I'll recap it right quick. I don't think that it has anything to do with any wax on the balls. I think it's just worn cloth that doesn't get vacuumed, because when you do vacuum a pool table, especially when you use a vacuum with a beater bar, it will actually agitate fibers, and it will agitate those fibers and loosen them up, you know. Okay, so the Motown Phenom says I hadn't gotten to this. Okay, so when you go to clean the balls, okay, if you guys have a ball polisher at the house or something like that, or even there's a couple of videos on here about homemade ball polishers, and they do work great. I made one myself. I use it. And anyway, I use this. This is 3M, and there's the number. What is that? 39061. This is the stuff you want to use, okay? Very little waxes in it. Perfect machine polish. It is a very, very, very light compound. This is the stuff that you want to use. It will get rid of any discoloration on the balls, any marks or anything like that. So, all right, Big Noodle. Let's go to his question. He says, hey, howdy, hey. I am in the process of recovering a Brunswick heirloom, new to me, table. Just did the rails last night. We'll still have, will I still them and pockets tonight? Okay. Could not have done it without your videos. Good to hear. Pretty easy to recover rails if you take your time and do it right. So, what other questions do you guys have for me? I'm waiting. Let me go back over to, there's a lag here. I'm using, like I said, OSB Studio, and there's a lag between the comments, the chat on here, and the chat that I get directly from YouTube. But if I go over to YouTube and read the chat there, which is more up to date, let's see, shortly after starting to answer the question forum as billiards. Okay, we can hear you now. Hi, Doug. Does pool table need re-leveling on the second floor more often than concrete? Yeah, good question. Good question. Yes. Okay, short answer, yes. Reason why? Settling, okay? Here in New Orleans, we have a lot of raised houses. They're off the ground by, I don't know, a foot, 18 inches, something like that. And we actually have floor joists underneath. And they settle. If the table is up on the second floor, you've basically got the exact same thing. So, yes, it will settle. Is it a lot? That depends on how good the construction is, how close together the floor joists are. Joists, is that the correct way to say it? Joists, not joisters. But anyway, yes, you would need to go back in and re-level it, check it out, because there will be settling. Here's what I tell my customers. If you're on a slab floor, if your second floor happens to be a concrete slab, which isn't going to happen very often unless you're in maybe some apartments, maybe some commercial buildings, but typically houses, it's going to be, stick frame construction, and yes, it will settle. But what I tell customers is that the weight of the table is roughly 1,000 pounds for a 4x8 or 4.5x9, roughly 1,000 pounds. You got 4 legs on the table. If you do the math on it, that's 250 pounds per leg. Is that enough? Is that enough to cause problems? Not typically, but it may cause the floor to settle, in which case, yeah, you do want to go back in and check it every once in a while, and that's the whole reason why. Let's see. The Motown Phenom. Hi, Doug. Does pool table need to be... Okay, we got that one. Big Noodle. I will install the pockets tonight. I had a hell of a time leveling, just like you described in the beginning. What do you recommend for cleaning the table bed? Just a vacuum with attachment with no beater. No, I actually do recommend a beater bar. Hang on a second. Be right back. You guys still with me? I hope you are. Okay, you still with me? Now, this is a discontinued model, okay? But this is a Dirt Devil, and it has a beater bar. This one actually has a few threads wrapped up in it. There, done. Okay, the beater bar on here. It's not incredibly abrasive or anything like that, but this beater bar is actually going to agitate and pick up just about anything that's going to be, that will migrate its way through the cloth. So hand powder, that white cone chalk, which I never recommend that you use, but if you happen to use it, this will get it back up and off of the slate, out from under your cloth. It'll promote the longevity of the cloth. So look on eBay, get yourself a Dirt Devil, handheld Dirt Devil with a beater bar, okay? Or if you got the money, go out and go buy a Kirby regular vacuum cleaner, use it for the rest of your house. And I believe they have an attachment for theirs. For pet hair, we'll do the same thing. So that's what I recommend. Give me a second. Let me get this back wrapped up and out of my way so it's not, well, I'll catch it later. Get it after the video. Any other questions? He says, sweet, I have one of those Dirt Devils. Good. That's what you need. You need that Dirt Devil vacuum cleaner. And it works great for stairs. It works great for upholstery. You know, if you got pets or anything. North 40, all secure now. Not following. What do you mean there, G-Man? There's a dog. There's Bullet. Oh, by the way, do you guys remember my video where we had to evacuate last year for Hurricane Ida and I showed little bitty Bullet? All right. Bear with me. Forgive me. Be right back. I know. Little Bullet is still with us, but he's not so little anymore. Come here, Bullet. Come here. Come here. Get up here. This is Bullet. Can you guys see him? He's not so little anymore. He's a pain in the butt. All right, Amy, you want to call him? So, Bullet is still with us. Yes, I'm still recording. I thought I would show everyone Bullet. G-Man says he had to step away, outside job, rain on its way, but he's all secure now, I guess. Okay. Cool. I'm glad you got it all taken care of. All right, so let's go back to the questions. Would it be, somebody asked if it would be possible if they had Teflon in it? Nylon in the weave. I'm just reading through some of the responses to this guy. Not Teflon. They literally looked as though you took a spatula with some paste wax and filled the weave. Yeah, it's because it's all dirt and grime. Chances are they sell finger food at the location. See, the real King Cobra. I've actually read some of the stuff from him before, and he's pretty spot on. Real King Cobra replied to that question that I answered earlier. Chances are they sell finger food at those locations which people transfer the grease and oils from their hands on the cloth. Exactly. So let's go. We're going to get some more questions here from let's see, from A to Z Billiards. So this guy asks, let me make sure I'm still transmitting audio here. I am. Oh, let's see. Big Noodle asks, what kind of dog is Bullet? He's a black lab. And G-Man says about the slate seam, Doug. I don't know. Let's see. We spoke about a month. TG asks, he says, we spoke about a month ago regarding a 1980s 8-foot slate Minnesota Fats table that I need to move. I found a company, Q and Cushion, in Elmhurst, Illinois, that worked very well. I highly recommend them. Cool. Glad you found somebody that works. That did a good job. Let's see. On the Golden West, shimming underneath between the slate and the beam. Yes, you can shim underneath. I typically go to Home Depot and buy wooden door wedges that they use to level out doors, make them plumb, straight, true, whatever. That's the wedges for doors and windows. They're cheap, they work, and that's typically what we use for shimming underneath the slate and the beam. Let's see. Is this how you do it? I don't know. My house floor is concrete. Is it more affected? No. Concrete should stay pretty much true. I mean, unless your floor, unless you live here in Louisiana and or the southeast, where settling of land happens quite a bit. I know that the house I grew up in, it was perfectly level when the guys built it, or pretty close to level when they built it. And then over the course of, I guess, about 30, 35 years, no audio. My audio is good. No, my audio is good here. I'm showing I'm still broadcasting audio. TG, the audio's got to be on your end because my audio is good. anyway, that house, over the course of about 35 to 40 years, it sank on one side, and we had a tree there that sucked up all of the water on that one end of the house. And over the course of 35, 40 years, it actually dipped down by, I guess, about 5 inches over that much time. That's how much it settled. But generally speaking, no. It's going to take a very long time for your house to settle to that point. And concrete, no, you're not going to have that issue. Let's see. Will a 8-inch machinist level work or get a 12-inch? I prefer the 12-inch. I know the 8-inch is cheaper. The Starrett precision levels like that. The 8-inch is less expensive. I prefer the 12-inch. But I mean, with that kind of precision, where you're talking about 5/1000ths of an inch over the course of, or over 1 foot, what is that? Over the course of 8 feet, that's 40 thou. But again, you can get it even more precise than just 5,000. Each one of the graduations, I believe, is 5/1000ths of an inch, and you can actually see that bubble move within those two graduations. So I mean, you can get it within, I'm going to say, with under 10/1000ths of an inch, or under 2/1000ths of an inch. So even with an 8-inch level. Let's see. Audio just went out. No. Do you have any advice on how to set up pool table lighting? Yes, I do. I typically recommend fluorescent lights. I would typically recommend a 4-gang, 4-foot long fluorescent fixture, and build a box around it. Diamond actually used to sell their own basically a pool table light that was almost like that. It was a little bit bigger. I think it was maybe 6 light bulbs, but they were 4 feet long. Anyway, 4 light bulbs, 4 foot long, fluorescent tubes. Build a box around it. I'm one of these DIY type guys, and I'm assuming if you're watching my channel, you're a DIY type guy too. And building a box around a light is not going to be the hardest thing in the world for you guys. And then what I would recommend is put it on chains, bring it down to the point where, or bring it down and then start raising it up until just the perimeter of the light, the main light itself, is right around the edge of the table. You'll see a distinct shadow line from where there isn't light to light. Okay. And you want it to just be around the table. And like I said, a 4 fluorescent tube fixture that's 4 foot long. Build a light box around it, and that's it. Maybe some kind of diffuser underneath. And that's the way I would do it. Let's see, perfect. And do you do that before tightening the slate screws? Do what before? I'm answering, going back and forth, answering questions. So, let's see. Or do you tighten the slates? Or as you tighten the slate screws? Okay. Ami Sin. I'm hoping I'm not butchering your name. Bondo versus beeswax for seam. Bondo. Always Bondo. I don't like beeswax for the simple reason that you have to melt that stuff. And typically that's done with a blowtorch. I don't like open flames. I don't like bringing or introducing open flames into my customer's house. So, G-Man asks shimming. Okay, I do that as I'm tightening down the screws. That's when you're adjusting both. You're adjusting the shim, you're adjusting the screw, and you're tightening it down, and simultaneously. With Bondo, all I have to do, if Bondo gets on something after I've mixed it up, I just leave it alone. It hardens, and I can just pick it right off. It can fall on the carpet A blob of Bondo can fall on the carpet. Not that I want it to. Okay. But a blob of Bondo can fall on the carpet. All I have to do is walk away. Don't mess with it. And then give it 5 minutes, and then I can just go pick it right back up. Beeswax, you can't do that. Beeswax, if for whatever reason that your blowtorch or whatever you're using to melt that beeswax, if it falls over and there's some kind of fault with that torch, you could set somebody's house on fire. You know, I don't use beeswax or paraffin wax at all. I never will, and I don't advise anybody else to do it. And again, if for whatever reason your beeswax overflows and gets onto somebody's carpet, it's ruined. All right, let's see. What do you recommend for decent mid-range pool balls? Oh, actually, I would recommend, not just because I sell them, but I would actually recommend the Dynaspheres. They are great. Let's see. Let me see if I can comment on this. Let me get over to YouTube. Get back over to YouTube and let me see if I can comment. I'm gonna leave the link to my website. Give me just a moment here. Okay, there we go. Actually, better yet, I'm going to go to YouTube here. I actually have to get to this video, so give me just a moment. And I have to mute it. All right, give me 1 second. And I've got to pull up my website. And I'm going to leave the link for the Dynasphere balls in the comments here along with you guys. So give me just a moment. Everything's running slow. Shop all products. Pool balls. And I'm going to leave the link for all of the, well, mid-range, I'm going to say the Dynasphere bronze. I mean, tungsten. So copy this and let me get back over to you guys. Paste and enter. There. All right. Hopefully my audio hasn't cut out. Nope, it hasn't. All right. TG says you should either be able to solder a new plug on those Sennheiser's headphones or have someone locally repair the cable. That should be a standard stereo plug connection. It's not. All right. It is, but it isn't. Here's the thing. I really did not want to have a different plug end on this. I really just wanted to replace the entire cable. Go into here and you know, pull this out. And I've already been inside of here, and there's a Molex plug that's on the inside of here that this goes into. They don't have this hardwired on the inside. It's just a plug. But here's the weird thing. Okay, so this thing has a microphone here, okay, and then we've got a left and a right. And on here, we've actually, on the back end, we've got 4 connectors on the jack, which makes perfect sense. You got a common, you've got one for the speaker, or one for the microphone, one for the left channel, one for the right channel, which is 4. But when you go inside of it and you go to the Molex plug, there's 7. And I have no idea what's what. I have no idea what's going to where. So anyway, right at the moment, I'm waiting to see if I can find you know, a pair of these on eBay or something that somebody's looking to get rid of for parts that it's not working, and I just want the cord off of it. Let's see. Christian McLean, the rubber on the rails. Okay. Oh, best way to cut the rails, the rubber on the rails. One of these. This is a Dexter produce knife. This one is, I believe, the 4-inch model, 4 or 5-inch model. This is by far the best way to cut the rubber on the rails, at least as far as I'm concerned. And then to clean it up, I have seriously got to figure out why this audio keeps doing this. To clean it up afterwards, the absolute best thing I found is an angle grinder with a, you know, just a regular grinding wheel on it. It will get that rubber just as smooth as you could possibly want it. And if you go with a light hand, you can get it absolutely perfect. I've had numerous people comment that that is the best way that they've ever done it. I mean, other pool table technicians have commented that they've been doing rubber for years and they saw my video and started and tried it, and it is perfect every single time. Perfect. As long as you get your angles right, you can follow that thing perfectly. Anyway. All right, so let's see. How long have we been going for now? I don't know. I have no idea. So anyway, what do you think of diamond slate leveling system? As with most things with diamond, I think it's a gimmick. I'm sorry. I'm not a diamond fan. Never have been. Their home tables are okay. I'm not a diamond fan. If you're talking about their commercial tables, I don't work on enough diamond commercial tables to give an opinion. But I mean, you know, why fix what ain't broken? I mean, you know, for over 170 years, pool tables have been leveled the same way. Wooden wedges, and, you know, it's just great. And, you know, for a company to come in and say, oh, well, we're going to put in, you know, basically bolts that you can go in and you can tweak it. Now, the only place I find where that does work very well is in the middle of the table, on either side of the seam. Having a basically a bolt that you can go in from underneath and crank down and level out the slates from one side to another, that does work great. But for the rest of the perimeter of the table, it's a pain in the butt, you know, to have, if it's what I'm thinking their leveling system is, which is basically bolts all the way around that you screw in or unscrew to level it out. You know, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the way that they do it. It really is. It's a pain in the butt. I've seen it on other tables, and it's just, you know. Let's see. G-Man says, hey, Doug, when I recovered the table, I drove the feather strip in too far. Is there a correct way to do this with the cloth on? Not if you've gone too far. You just leave it the way it is until next go round. Then you can pull it back out. Otherwise, you're going to waste that cloth, that rail cloth. Christian says, that's the way I do it as well. I heard an electric carving knife works great. Yeah, I've heard about electric carving knives too with it, but you know, again, it's just, you know, you're talking, it's not every single day that you're replacing rubber on rails unless you work for the factory. And I can tell you from personal experience, when I worked at Valley Dynamo, this is exactly what they use to cut the rubber at the factory. So this thing, okay. Let's see, the Motown Phenom. By the way, I got that table I was talking about on your last live stream, and it actually came with marble, but they are super heavy, 4 centimeters thick, and 150 kilograms each marble. I don't remember the name of that table right off the top of my head. Um, if they use marble, they use marble. Cool. I think it's overkill. I think it's a lot of money to pay for marble when marble's primary quality is that it's pretty. Let's see. Is there a way to turn snooker type rounded openings into pool type straight openings? Not easily. No. I mean, you not easily. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't tackle that job. The bends that they use for snooker are completely different than the rail facings that are used for pool. Um, the angles are different as well. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Why? Do you want a 14 or a 12 or a 14-foot long pool table with really tight pockets? Is that what you're going for? Oh, no, my audio's working fine, TG. It's on. I'm looking at my indicator levels down here. That's telling me that I'm broadcasting audio. Ami, tell me, is that what you're looking to do? Are you looking to get a? Are you looking to do a 12 or a 14-foot pool table with really tight pockets? Is that why you're asking? Let me see here. I want to go back to the A to Z Billiards, and there's a couple of other. Oh, bumper pool table service. Let's see what this got. Let's see. I played bumper pool today. Buddy's table needs cushions replaced and new cloth and bed rails. Using a fuzzy cloth and decent rubber, what should it cost? Ballpark. I don't really get an awful lot of call for bumper pool tables. I've done them. Um, they're fun to do. They're interesting. Um, Oh, you got a 10-foot table with rounded but tough to pot balls down the rails. Yeah, it is. Um, yeah, I could see that. Anyway, back to bumper pool tables. They are really interesting, especially the ones made by Valley Dynamo. It's really cool because the rails are done exactly the same as a regular coin operated table, even though, on these little rectangle. I mean, the tables are tiny. They're like 4 foot, 2 foot by 4 foot, something like that. Or yeah, but like the play field is like 2 foot by 4 foot. But the ones made by Valley are built identical to their regular tables, their regular coin operated tables, and the rails get recovered the exact same, except in the play field, you've got the holes where the bumpers, go down, and it's interesting to do them. I always find it interesting to do them. All right, so let me get back to that. To A to Z Billiards here. By the way, cost on recovering a bumper pool table is going to be. It's not going to be quite as much as recovering a regular coin operated table, but it's going to be close. Probably looking at somewhere in the $350 range is what I would figure. Let's see, diamond 3-piece. So many people are just gaga over diamond tables. I don't get it. All right, T rails versus vertical bolt rails. Okay. All right, this should be interesting. This guy says, I've always felt that T-rail tables have a better rebound, faster, and more solid feel. I maintain that I can shoot a bank shot on a table and tell if it's a T-rail without looking. All other things being equal, K55 cushion, same cloth, etc. Is this my imagination, or has anyone else tested this or noticed a difference? I think maybe it's because T-rail tables have more mass, or the rails are more solidly connected to the slate. I play on a T-rail table and a Diamond Smart tables. Comments, thoughts. Okay. Let me get back over to you guys. All right. T-rails. T-rails are not more solidly attached to the table. Okay. Vertical rail bolts, the ones that go up from underneath, are much more solid than a T-rail. Oop, don't hit the microphone. A T-rail, and I have T-rails here. The bolts go in through the side. So you've got this mass that's on top, and when the ball hits the top of the rail, it actually has a tendency to want to flex. Whereas if you have the bolt that goes up from underneath and it's pulling down, you've got the entire surface of the underside of the rail that's pulling down and is making solid contact with the slate, okay? And when the ball hits, it doesn't have that tendency to flex. It just doesn't. That's the whole reason why they switched over. Well, that, and it's cheaper to produce. That's one of the main reasons why they switched over from T-rails to regular rails, or modern type rails. Don't get me wrong. Look, T-rail tables, those old antique tables, they play okay. They don't play great. Modern tables play great. And I will maintain that till the day I die. Okay. You know, I am, if somebody was asking me, would you buy a T-rail table? If you were a really good pool player, which one would you buy? I would buy a modern rail table in a heartbeat. Now, if all I was looking for was something that was really pretty, that still played okay, you know, played decent, yeah, those T-rail tables, they did play good. But I mean, it's just simple physics. I mean, you know, you've got a bolt that's going in this way, a large mass up top, and you've got forces that are being applied to, you know, you've got a fulcrum down here, and you've got forces that are hitting up here. It's gonna want to flex this way. I mean, it doesn't have a choice. It's physics. Let's see. TG says, I'm sending you an email on how to test and troubleshoot the problem. Oh, okay. Thank you. I have no idea why this audio keeps cutting in and out. I hear it here, but then again, I'm monitoring from my interface. Let's see. Christian McLean, is there a reason Mark Gregory charges $1,500 to convert a 10-foot snooker table to or there is a reason why? Okay, yeah. It ain't easy to do. That's why they charge. I mean, you know, would I want to do it? No, I wouldn't want to do it. Let's see. No, never heard about the machine polish. TG, I'm telling you, this is the best stuff you can get. It's made by 3M. Again, 39061. You get this at Napa or any good automotive paint shop. Let's see, Doug, how much longer are you going to be on? I want to email a question. Go ahead and email the question. If you got it, go ahead and email it. Let me get over to my email, see if I don't have it from you yet. Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting some kind of feedback on here too. I don't know what. Yeah, major impact. I'm going to be on for a little bit. I'm getting. Do you guys hear Bullet barking in the background there? All right, so in the interim, while I'm waiting, we'll go ahead. We'll go back over to A to Z Billiards. All right, this guy's got a question about a Valley 8-foot. How good can you get a Valley 8-foot to play? What's the best thing you can do to them, such as rails or cloth? What's the biggest downfall to these tables as far as playability goes? I I mean, I like Valley tables for what they are. They're money making machines. That's what they're there for. Can you make them? Can you make the pockets tighter on them and make them play like a regular? Can you make them play like a regular home type pool table? Yes, you can. But it takes an awful lot of doing. One of the main reasons, one of the biggest downfalls to a Valley coin operated table in your home is that if you need to level the slate itself, if your slate does like this, and some of it does, you know, there's a lot of weight that's being pushed down the weight of the slate itself, and you know, if your underlying structure of that table is not perfectly true, all the way, forget about level for a minute. If it's not all completely true and all on the same plane, then the slate can sag in the lower spots, just like you know, think about carpet on a floor. You know, if there's a dip in it, that carpet's going to settle down. Slate is much harder than carpet, but it can still sag. Okay. To get rid of that sag, you have to lift out the slate, put a shim underneath there, set the slate back down, and see if it's fixed. If it's not fixed, now you got to lift the slate back out again and keep doing that over and over and over again until you've got it right. That's a huge issue. Whereas with a home pool table, with a 3-piece slate pool table, I've already got no less than 16 points that I can level that table from right off the bat. I have the 4 legs and I have 4 corners on each of the slates, but I can go in between those corners too. I can go in between the screws and shim it up right there as I'm working on it. And when I walk away from the table, it's perfect. I don't have to move slates on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, just to get it level. So, you know, that, why bother with a coin operated table for your home if that's what you have to go through? If you're wanting it to play like a home table, just buy a home table. And I've said it before, you know, I think that coin operated tables are great for what they are. They're money making machines. The pockets on them are like buckets. They're bigger than home pool tables. You know, they're designed to make everybody a great player. You know, even mediocre players make them great. But again, you know, coin operated tables, by the time amusement companies are done with them, they're usually beat to death and they're not worth repairing at that point. And that's not always the case. There's always outliers. There's always places that go out of business that sell off relatively new coin operated tables, and you can get them sometimes. But, you know, generally the used coin operated tables that are going to be out there are going to be the used and abused stuff that came from an amusement company. All right, let's go back to A to Z here. Let's see. New cloth. One of the pool halls here is recovering their 10 tables with a cloth called, okay, Strachan Super Weave. None of us have heard of it, so wondering what it's going to play like. Does anyone know anything about it? We hope it plays similar to Simona's 860. I don't know. I have no idea. Never heard of it. Never heard of it, and chances are it's cheap cloth, or much less expensive than Simonis or Tour Edition or Championships Proline cloths. Gandy Big G parts. Oh, he's just wanting to know if anybody's interested in some Big G parts. Nope. All right, so any other questions? I never did receive that email. Oh, major impact. Let me check my email and see if I got anything from you. Nope, didn't receive the email yet. If TG Bullet looks like a great dog. He's all right. He's kind of dumb. He's kind of dopey. Sometimes he's still, he's still a puppy. Next month he'll be a year old, and he's really smart, but he's hard-headed. Loves to lay right in the middle of the floor. You guys see the opening right here? This doorway right here? He loves to lay right in the middle of it, and it's kind of difficult for me to. To walk back and forth there without stepping over him. And the height of this opening here is actually shorter than me. It's not standard height, it's a little shorter. I hit my head on it numerous times, and then it doesn't make anything any better when the dog is laying right there in the way, and I have to yell at him, "Go get in your chair." And he's smart enough, he knows where his chair is, and he knows he better go. So let's see. Stray chan used on snooker tables, good quality cloth. Okay. If it's used on snooker tables, I would assume then that it's going to be a faster cloth than I don't deal very much with snooker tables. It's not a popular game here. I've done more billiard tables, actual billiard tables, than what I have snooker tables over the years. Use the email shown on your Facebook page. Here, let me reply back to you right quick. All right, there. I replied back to you. That's my email address. So anyway, where was I? I forget where I was. I know I was talking about Bullet being in the way and him going to go get in his chair. He's smart. Oh, yeah. I would assume that it's a faster cloth than either Simonis 760 or the championship. Let's see, championship Pro-Am 3020, and it's got to be somewhere closer to that, but nowhere near as fast as, say, carom cloth or actual billiard fabric, because I've done some of that stuff, and that stuff is like trying to stretch silk. I mean, it's really, really thin stuff. So let me see. Let me reply back to you. Okay, major impact. Okay, yeah. I haven't gotten that. I haven't gotten that email yet. Let's see. Big Noodle. You just described my dog Pickles. She's a Catahoula. She's a dog savant, clumsy and dumb on the basics, but super smart on other stuff. That's Bullet. You can tell him certain things, and then other things it's just like, just in one ear and out the other. But I tell you where he's really smart, and this is a prime example. There was a baby bird that had fallen out of the nest a few days ago, and sadly enough, it died. I didn't get a chance to pick it up and put it in the trash. But anyway, that day I brought Bullet out in the front for a few minutes, and he saw it, and he went over to it, and when I saw what he was sniffing at, I told him, I said, get away from it, and he did. He left it alone. And then later on that day, he did it again. He went over to it. I said, leave it alone, and he did. Now, a couple of other times since then, he didn't even bother going over there. But then today, earlier today, I went outside, and I happened to notice he came back, and he had this bird in his mouth, this dead bird in his mouth. And he remembered that dead bird was there, and that I hadn't picked it up yet. So, yeah, and he's smart like that. He's done that a few times. Anyway, not worsted, high wool content. Okay. High wool oh. Again, I don't really deal with snooker tables and you know, English type billiards like that, or yeah, snooker. They do have a different type of cloth, and I've actually seen where they have to iron it in one direction, a directional cloth that has to be ironed, and yeah, that stuff is different. It is different, and I don't work with it, so I don't know that much about it. Okay, Predator cloth at my local pool hall seems pretty quick. I actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Predator has their cloth made by one of the major manufacturers. It's probably the exact same thing as one of the other major manufacturers. I know for a fact that one of the major manufacturers out there, and I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to get anybody in any trouble or anything like that, but there is a major manufacturer that has their name on cloth, and it is actually made by one of the, it's not branded by the major cloth manufacturer. It has their own brand on it, but it's the identical cloth of one of the other, or it's really, really similar to one of the other cloths. Okay. So anyway, Predator cloth, it would not surprise me in the least if they are having somebody private label their cloth for them. And it's pretty much the same thing, maybe ever so slightly different than one of the other, than the cloth manufacturer's normal stuff. All right, Big Noodle. On my new to me Brunswick heirloom table, there are no slate liners. I installed cloth with spray glue as you described.
Cletus Jiles.
Cletus is going to have to wait. Cletus is going to have to wait. Okay. As you described for commercial table, was there to be liners and were they removed? On your Brunswick heirloom table, they came with or without liners. Brunswick did them a few different ways. If I'm not mistaken, the Brunswick heirlooms were made in the 70s and early 80s. Brunswick went back and forth with how they did that. Some of them had liners, some of them didn't. The ones that did have liners, well, you know, they were stapled down. But it's not uncommon to glue down cloth or staple it down. You can do both. So, but anyway, let's see. I'm going to wrap it up. Let me check right quick and see if I got that email in from. Nope, no email yet. Major impact. If I get that email, I'll just respond back to it. So far, I haven't gotten that email. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I've been on here long enough, and think of some more questions for me for next go round. Don't know when that's going to be. Probably this weekend. Hopefully this weekend. Maybe this weekend. Maybe not. Anyway, we'll talk with you guys later on, and think of some more questions for me. I don't mind. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, you guys take care, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.